Hello, welcome to Simplified Systems with Sasha. This is my YouTube channel. Obviously, you guys are on YouTube. Today, we're going to actually cover ClickUp Automations. This is a four-part series. After reviewing, I think it might be more, but for now, we'll say that it's going to be four parts. And this is going to be episode one. So I'm going to go over right now. Today, I'm going to just go over the simple stuff. I'm going to just kind of give you an overview of what the automations, like where they're at in the system, the options that you have. I'm not going to create any automations, but I'm going to show you like potential that you can have, and then kind of just go over that a little bit more with you, as far as the overview. Like I said, the overall view of automations and what they are within the ClickUp workspace. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to add this. I'm actually going to move myself over to my other screen so I can, let's see, make sure that you guys can see. There we go. Okay, there it goes. All right. So this again, if you're familiar with my channel, this is my training workspace. There's no private information in here, so nobody try to come for me. I'm not putting people's business on here. Relax. In the training space, this is where I work on things that if I want to build out a new system, if I want to try out a template that ClickUp provides, or if I want to create a template for myself to either give to a client or to actually sell to people that are in ClickUp and they're looking to have a really built out template for them, depending on what they're looking for. So we are going to, as I stated, we are going to talk about automations today. So inside of your workspace, whether you are inside the folder, you can see automate. Inside of a list, you can see automate. If you are inside of a space, like let's see, if you're just looking at it from the space level, operations, you can see automate, right? So you can see automate everywhere. We are going to go back here. So we're going to look at it at the folder level. Now, when you're doing it at the folder level, you have to remember that you're setting up an automation at the folder level. Now, if you're setting it up at the list level, which you can see here, I have client A. If I set up an automation here, it's not going to translate here unless this is a duplicate, or I create a template and then create a new list from that template. So you got to remember when you're doing automations, you got to keep those things in mind. Depending on where you set up the automation, depends on where it stays, where it translates to, things like that. So my recommendation would be, I have clients, right? So say I have 10 clients, ClickUps that do a ClickUp sprint. I have one template that is for ClickUp sprints. All the automations, I create all the automations. I create all the tasks that I want to pop up, the phases, the items. Maybe I have a doc in there. Everything gets created, and then I create a template. So the automations are within the template. So you got to keep that in mind. So let's look at automate. We're just going to look at it on the list level. So this is folder, this is list. In this workspace, or this space that I'm using, I have the product or the service offer as the folder, and then I have the client as the list. There's so many different ways you guys can do it. This is just how I do it here. And I feel like this for now is the best way to explain a lot of things to you guys, at least starting out. The deeper we get into it, the further down we get into our training and different videos like that, you'll see that there's going to be different versions that might work better. So over here on the right hand side is where you see automate. You got this little robot. You can click the drop down, and then a few things pop up here. Customize list, templates, click apps, custom field status. You can hit automate directly, and that's where the automations pop up. You can have it set to where you can actually have, when any type of task is created, it's automatically assigned to the same person. I'll give you an example for that. Maybe you only have one social media manager. So every time you put a request, maybe you have a social media workspace for them or space for them. Every time you put a new request in or you put a title or whatever it may be, you want it to always mark that person as the assignee. You can set that up. You can also have it set up to where it's you're making it to where certain people are always watchers. A watcher is someone who watches. It's really just someone that doesn't have active, doesn't per se have active tasks that need to be done, but have to keep an eye on something. Now, obviously, they can have tasks in there, but just to distinguish the difference, this is someone that you want to be able to see what's going on, but they don't actually have tasks. So, project managers, department managers, maybe the CEO wants to be added as a watcher. It depends on what they want. So here you can see active automations. There are no active automations. If there were, it would say at a certain number there. So you're going to click on add automations. And if it is your first time going into the automation section, it'll look like this. It'll pop, this is the page that will pop up. And then you can see here on the top, you have browse and you have usage. So usage is very simple to explain. Depending on the level that you have, you can see how many automations you have per month. Now, this is not lifetime, this is per month. And I can tell you right now, if you're using all 1,000 of these actions every month on the unlimited plan, you're systemized to the extent. So that's wonderful. But it's very, there's so many there that you really, unless you have a big team or you have a lot going on, a lot of offers, a lot of project management going on, that you're okay with that level. But it tells you, it keeps track of how many you've used. Again, this is on a monthly basis. This is not total. This is monthly. So it resets every month. That's a lot more than you think. You can see here, this is my training one and my training workspace, and this specific one has only used 8 out of 1,000. Again, this is for training, so but still. And the next section is browse. I left that for last because there's a lot of things in this section. So here we have the custom automation button. It has categories, so it already gives you some categories to get you thinking about what type of automation you want to create. Then it has an integration section down here for different third-party tools. So we have Calendly, your email, GitHub, HubSpot. HubSpot, at the time that I'm recording this, ClickUp actually is now doing a partnership, a really big partnership with HubSpot. So that's going to be fun. I'm going to actually check that out and then do a separate video of my thoughts on it, my review on it. So I'm excited about that. And then, of course, you have Twilio here and then Bugsnag up here at the top. But a lot of people have Calendly, so this is really good that you can do it. And what's really great is when you click on something, it gives you examples of the different automations that you can do. So you're not starting, essentially, you're really not starting from scratch. It definitely guides you on these are the types of automations that you can do with the integrated files. Now, keep in mind, if you are familiar with Make or formerly known as Integromat or Zapier, you can have a ton more integrations and automations, but this is just what's in the system, which they're building it out more and more to the point where using a third-party integration tool like Zapier or Make you're gonna use it less and less, because ClickUp, they are creating a lot of stuff inside the system. The whole point is to make this your hub for project management and day-to-day, task and things like that. So, and so much more. It's way more than that, but so you can see here, it gives you email, Calendly, you have the Bugsnag here, these, and then it starts to go into the section here. If you go down here, you got GitHub, you got HubSpot, and then you can see here, show more. So there's even more than what they're showing here. You got Twilio here, and then of course, create your own custom automation. You would create that. I'm not going to click on that because I don't want to get too far into it on this video, but you can start creating a new one, yourself. Now up here towards the top, you have the create automation, custom automation. That is basically, I don't want to go off of something. I just want to do it myself. So that's what that is. So let's go back. Now we have move. So it tells you all the things, all the automations that are associated with when a move happens, do this. When a move happens, do that. So they give you some examples, and of course you guys show more statuses. I would say that this is the one that gets used the most when you first start using automations. And even move, I would say, if I'm looking at like in order of, you have assignee, statuses, and then move, and then we'll kind of go into like creation. Creation is a little bit further down the line, but it's still quite easy to do when you're just starting out. So I want to keep this video not too long. So, okay. Okay, so we have the different items here: creation, dates, assignee, priorities, other. Now I'll just use status as an example. I can just click on it, and then it gives me the space to work from. And based on the one that I clicked, it already has a when this happens, then this happens, and do this, but I can change that. So let's go over what it has on this side. So when you hit the drop down, when this happens, so this is the first part of it, right? And you can see here that it's telling you where it's located. It's giving you a breakdown. It's in active projects under ClickUp Sprints, client A. So this is just a good way to make sure that you're creating the automation in the right spot. You might think, oh, well, you're creating it, you should know where it's going. I've created an automation in the wrong spot. So this little tidbit here is actually extremely important. And then down here we have automation summary. When this happens, then this. So that's what this part right here is pertaining to this area, and this part is pertaining to this area. Once you have that, then you press create, and then I'll show you something to do after that. So let's just look at when this happens section. So these are all the options: when status changes, when priority changes, when due date changes, when an assignee is removed, and so on and so on. When something is moved to this location, when a task is linked, when all subtasks are resolved. There's so many different options here internally that you can do where you don't have to go to a third-party program. So we'll just click on anything, doesn't matter. And then do this. Now, this right here actually shows items that can be done based on what you chose over here. So the same options that are available for status change, you can see here, this is not bold. So that means that when it's pertaining to a status change, this is not able, nothing's able to be done with that. So if I change it, it'll tell me same thing, custom fields. So the more you just go down them, and they'll tell you what can and cannot be, utilized or whatever. So let's go back. Just push this, and then we'll click that so you can see. So when this happens, then change assignees, create a task, create a subtask, apply a template, add a comment, delete task, duplicate, track time, changes. I mean, there's so many different things on here. We'll call webhook. This right here is when you're familiar, or you have somebody on your team that's familiar with webhooks inside of Zapier or Make or something like that. It's kind of, once you understand it, it's not hard, but it's not as simple as just utilizing the templates that Zapier or Make give you. It's a little bit more than that. So that's really nice that it has that here, because sometimes what you're trying to accomplish is not here, but you really don't want to, maybe you don't understand how to build out, you're not a developer, but stuff like this you can learn very quickly. So when this happens, then this happens. So we're just gonna pick something. We're gonna pick add comment, test comment. Now you see here, there's different options here. I'm not going to go too far into it. Each different thing that you choose shows you the different options of editing, adding, or anything like that. So we're just going to create. Now, if you just look at this automation, you could see when status changes, then add a comment, right? But what if you have a lot of when status changes? How do you know which one is which? How do you know which one you're to edit? And so on and so on. So first, before I show you that, you can see here when you hover over it, you can activate it. So if I click this, it turns the automation off and it actually dims it. I can put it in the trash, or I can edit it. And then if I click edit, it'll just open up where I was just at. But what I like to do, just real quick, what I like to do when I'm creating automations is after I create the automation, I go to the description, and if I know what it is, if I know exactly what it is without question, then I write what it is. So status changes from, active to done. We'll just say that. And you say add comment to Bill, just whatever. Now, if you don't know what this is, maybe you have a whole bunch of them. You're like, I don't know what this is. What am I, I want to label it, but you can't see what it is. So what you do is say actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to create another automation real quick. Create a task, select it, whatever, but me. Of course, I choose the most complicated one. Let's change that. I don't want it to be too. Just do the task. There we go. Okay. So now say these say the same thing, right? I want to figure out who this automation is commenting to. So I write edit, right? That's the description. And then I click into it and I say, oh, it's a test comment to Bill. Okay, great. So now I come here and I can just change comment to Bill. That's just a little trick, tip, whatever you want to consider it. So let's see. Yep. Now we're going to look here. If I had utilized it, this would change. Again, this is the browse. That is, and you can see here now that I have 2 active automations. Now, again, this is in this list. If I go here, no automations. It's only in that list. Okay, so I'm actually going to end this video here. So that way I don't want to go too far into it. We have so many more parts that we're going to do. And then just stay tuned for part 2.